I believe that love is a connection between two people. I believe that it's a job, and it's a responsibility. So you have to communicate with them. It also involves physical love or physicality, and it's very complex. It's a complex word that we don't really understand unless we just keep loving people.
For me, I would say God is love. That's one of my favorite verses from the Bible, 1 Corinthians 13. God is love.
I think love is feeling positively towards another person in a way that puts their best interests at heart.
I think love is just a feeling that you have for someone or something, actually. You just want to give it your all and you want to experience it. You think about it all the time. Love is just like, it's just how someone or something that thing makes you feel when you're with them or doing it. You love it, like you want to keep doing it, or you want to keep being with that person.
I don't know, you have like this desirable feeling for someone and you'll do any and everything for them. And
doing what is best for somebody, you know? I feel like that's what, that's how I define love. Reason why I say that is because like Ariana was saying, to connect it to like some emotional thing.
I think to me it has to do with not so much a feeling where you're like, I can tell that like I have a feeling towards a person or something, or that that's like a constant feeling that's reminding you that it's there. It's like, oh, this is what love is to me. It's really more of an unspoken thing. It's kind of just like it's like almost intrinsic. I think it's something that people have where we just kind of do it unconsciously.
I feel like it's a process of caring for somebody but not knowing why. Not having like a specific defined reason.
We've been asleep for way too long by now. We've been asleep for way too long. At the break of
my family is really weird. It's just me and my mom and my little sister and my older brother. That's what my home life was. And my mom's not the type that said like I love you and we had hugs and dinner every night together, but I knew the love was there. It just showed in a different way. Like actually somebody else had to point it out to me. It's like when we talk on the phone, my mom's like, all right. And I'll go, all right. And we'll say, all right, like back and forth a million times before we actually hang up. And my friend was like, well, that's just you guys saying I love you to each other. I was like, oh, I never really noticed it. But I think that's why I am the way I am now, because I didn't have like a emotional mom and family. And I just was really interested in getting into those emotions because I never really experienced it in that type of way at home. I got it, but I never really experienced it.
Family love is more in a protective sense. It's almost an obligational type of love. So when we think of family love, it's like, oh, we have to love our moms, we have to love our dads. It just becomes a have to just because they're blood. And like they say, blood is thicker than water. In some sense, that may not be true to some people just based on that relationship.
Loving your family, from what I've experienced, was just being in their presence. A lot of times everybody gets so busy doing their own thing and you realize, you all haven't been in the same house like in forever. So for me, especially because I live away from my family, just, being there and everybody being under one roof and just enjoying each other's company, that is love.
The person that comes first in my mind is my brother. And I think that's like an interesting place to start, because people like now, like we've come up with the we come up with like a terminology like sibling rivalries and things like that, which me and my brother totally have. Like that's literally like our whole dynamic. All we do is go back and forth, like trying to like one up the other and arguing about like nonsensical stuff, but like that's just our dynamic. Like that's how we interact.
I try not to make it, you know, I try not to be too different than what I show to my friends, but I mean, because they, you know, I've grown up with these people and I've known these people all my life, you know, there is some differences, but like, you know, it's different for each individual, you know, like it goes off my first definition of love, like doing what is good for somebody, you know, so it's just like, what's good for my brother may not be the same thing as good for my father, and may not be the same thing as good for my sister, so I'll treat them in different ways. Like I'll be more playful with my sister because she needs that, you know, to me. I think that she needs, you know, she don't like when things get too tough, you know, and to help her grow and to be a better person, I guess I'll be more playful sometimes, but sometimes it's not good. And for my father, like I'll be more strict, you know, because he's just like don't want to move. He's just kind of shiftless sometimes.
I feel like it's pretty much the same. You know what I mean? Like if I have a genuine love for my significant other, like I'm going to love her like as I love like my family. But it all depends on like how your family is and like how you were raised and like how you grew up like around your family. Like me, I'm a big family person, so like it's always been important. Like love is like always, it's like a big core thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like with my significant other, it's going to be a thing, and I'm going to treat and I care for her as I would for one of my family members, because that love is like, it's unconditional. I know it's unconditional from my family, from me to them, from them to me, and it's gonna be like that from my significant other, from me to her, and I hope that will come from her to me.
Because you know the family will always be there. So even if they tell you some things that you don't want to hear or whatever the case may be, they tell you that because they love you, and it's comforting to know that you'll have them versus taking your chances on someone you know you probably won't have.
Since I was in a big family, love meant not being invisible and like knowing that somebody wanted to do something nice for me or say something nice to me or include me in their plans. That's love, and so I try to do that with my husband and with my daughter as well.
Friendship, love. The love I have with my friends, like I could go years and years without seeing them or hanging out with them, and then the moment I see them again, it's like the love never even disappeared. That's when you know that it's super concrete and like you're best friends.
Platonic love is similar to family love in that you check on that person, you make sure that they're okay. I was just talking to one of my friends and they were saying like they didn't feel like they had many friends because nobody ever checks in on them and they could be going through a rough time. Some friends need that constant reminder that you haven't forgotten about me. Also looking for opportunities for your friends, like, you know, if you see a job that would be good for that friend. I love my friends like their siblings, and my closest friends, we don't even call each other friend or best friend. We call each other brother. We call each other sister.
My best friends, I would say, our platonic love is kind of like, it's not really spoken. It's just like we get each other, we like hanging out with each other, like certain things we could say and like we would just die laughing. And sometimes we know when not to say anything at all, depending on whatever the situation is. So it's like understanding that person for who they are and just, you know, enjoying that. When
I love my friends, I look at it as I give them advice. We are vulnerable with each other when it comes to like talking about certain things, and we can cry to one another. And it's crazy because I'm pretty close. I'm closer to my friends than with my family, so I am more vulnerable to them. It's different, but I feel like because we're the same age, we've kind of gone through the same journey, I can talk to them a little bit more. So, but loving my friends, it comes with the person and their personality and how long I've known them and been on a journey with them.
I love my friends, all of my friends. Like, I feel like I'm closer to them than I am with my family, because I have friends that I've had in my life for years and years and years, and I can talk to them about everything, stuff that I can't talk about with like my mom and stuff like that. And because they experience the same stuff as you, and they go through the same stuff, so you build this relationship with this person because you're going through the journey together. So that person or your friends, they connect with you in that type of way, and you can't really stray away from them because they're like there all the time for you.
A friend who calls himself friend but doesn't exemplify love feels like a leech, an emotional leech. And so if it's not two-way, there's not expressions of love going both ways, then that platonic love really just turns into a chore.
And you are forever. And you are forever.
That is super concrete and like your best friends.
Love in a romantic way.
It's very stressful.
Wow. Romantic love, I don't really have that much experience yet in that department. I've only been in love once, and I've been in like a lot of times, but romantic love is pretty complicated. It's hard because there's some people, especially in my generation, that's not really ready for the type of love that I could give, because I believe that I'm very monogamous and I'm not, going to date someone and leave them. I feel like I'm pretty loyal in that sense.
I think they're used to the stereotypes, and I think they're used to there's just this really weird pattern in how relationships are supposed to go with our generation. Like, first of all, the image and what you're supposed to look like and who you're supposed to be with in order to determine if that's a good person or not. And once you have the image, then that means that you got it all, but really looks aren't everything. And then you end up getting hurt. And then that.
How does someone show you love personally? How do you know when they love you?
I am a person who appreciates the little things. And when they do things like buy me my favorite snacks, or rub my back, rub my body when I'm tired after dancing, or run my bath water for me. I did this for you. Give me a kiss on the forehead.
There's a book that's called The 5 Love Languages, and I'm kind of reading it right now. And basically the author says something along the lines of, the first 2 years you're falling in love and you have this like fantasy love, this Twitter-pated type of feeling. And then after those first 2 years, you realize that is a myth. Like all of that, oh, I'm falling in love, and that whole lovey-dovey feeling, it kind of goes away, but you start to find a deeper love that sustains your relationship. And couples who break up at that 1.5, 2.5 year mark oftentimes fail to realize that the love that they feel is supposed to change. That feeling is not going to be the same 10 years or 4 years into a relationship as it was on your third date. And if that's your expectation, that your intimacy is going to remain the same, if that your financial responsibilities remain the same, from dating to being engaged to being newlyweds to being together for 5 years, then there's no growth. And so I knew I was in love with Sean the first day that I met him in person. When I first met him, I knew that it was right. And particularly, I fell in love with him when my daughter fell in love with him. And so when I saw Anne-Marie grab his hand when she was about to cross a parking lot going into a restaurant, I kind of stood back a little bit and like just watched it happen.
And that melted my heart when it happened too, because I wasn't expecting it.
And I didn't share that moment with him right away, but when I saw that my daughter allowed herself to be vulnerable with this adult who she didn't know, it made me feel like I could give love a shot with him as well.
Being together is a challenge. I think it's a challenge sometimes depending on the environment. You kind of have to know your audience. Like if we go to his church that he grew up in, we're not going to be holding hands or anything because they will crucify us. But if we're here at church, in a
good way.
Yeah. if we're here at Urban Village Church, like we're fine holding hands and stuff. So it's kind of a challenge in that you have to just kind of know where you are, which I kind of feel like, straight couples, they don't care. They are affectionate wherever they are. So no, it's not what it used to be, but it's not where it should be.
But it teaches you a lot about yourself in the same sense. Like, I don't know, with love and other situations, it's just you care for that person, but you don't really look at yourself in the situation. And when you're in a romantic relationship, I don't know, your brain ponders, like you think a lot about yourself and how you really care and all these.
So do you think a romantic love is conditional or unconditional?
And it's conditional. Oh, it's unconditional love.
I believe that love is unconditional. Let's say if I decide to get married to someone, I think that's when love turns into unconditional, because you're going to accept the person for who they are for the rest of your life. That's a lifetime commitment. But until then, I don't think love is conditional, because is unconditional because you're still searching for that right person that you can accept fully. I do believe it's unconditional when it comes to loving my family or loving my friends. But when it comes to significant others, then no, it's not unconditional.
Unconditional? Like I'm only supposed to love you in certain conditions?
Yeah, I do. I believe that there is conditional love because
I think all love is conditional. I don't think we love unconditionally.
Well, I think
the only person that does that is God.
I think, overall maybe there's condition. Well, yeah, because I mean, if somebody's in like some concentration camp, you may want to love somebody, but things can get crazy, and certain things is gonna come out you that you didn't expect.
There's such thing as conditional love. I think that's kind of the case when you meet a new person in the first place. Like you eventually, the more time you spend with somebody, I think you just develop a sort of relationship with them that you can kind of, without knowing, can turn into love. But unless you spend every single moment of your life with that person until they reveal a value or something that they might have that you absolutely cannot align yourself with, then it becomes conditional at that point. Once they reveal that value, whatever it might be, whether it be they don't brush their teeth, you might just be like, like that's it, like we can't. But no, like I'm gonna have to disagree with Xavier. I think a person can have unconditional love, but I think in that case, if one of those values was to come up, the thing that you would do to show your unconditional love is distance yourself from that person in order to do, like what Leo said, what's best for them. If they exhibit tendencies that are harmful to you, obviously you need to distance yourself. And if they're exhibiting tendencies that's harmful to themselves or others, and they're not trying to do better, or they're not trying to hear you, or they're not trying to better themselves, then again you distance yourself. But I think definitely you can love somebody no matter what they do.
We can be conditioned, we can be unconditional, but like overall, like there are certain things that can push us over the edge. So yeah, like he can care, and she could like this person, and then wind up like looking over this flaw. But like to truly care, no matter if we can do it or not, you have to do the right thing, which is like what's best for this person.
What ideas come to mind when you hear the term soulmates?
I'm first. I think when you hear soulmate, I think the idea that comes to mind is that it's like something that had been created. I think soulmates exist. Like I think I had the most. Not most, least experience as far as romantic type love out of the three of us. But I think soulmates exist. I think soulmates exist, but the terminology and conception of it has come from advertising, really, pretty much. Like I don't remember what year it was, but I remember I was in class and they were like, yeah, like the whole diamond trade, like the whole diamonds are a girl's best friend. That came from like advertisement. So like the soulmate thing, it's just like a branch of that. It's not as in your face, but it's just like a branch of that. Just what most people's conception of it are, and what my conception of it is when I just hear it.
Soulmates has a totally different meaning to me than what a lot of people, like I don't connect it to something that's romantic. I feel like your soulmate could be just a person that you just can't live without. Like that could be your best friend, that could be your brother, your sister. Like I feel like if you have that connection and you just cannot let it go, like that's your soulmate.
Actually, I just recently read something, I don't remember what it was, but it said that we were all created with like we were like two bodies in one or something. Like we have like
That's from Plato's Symposium.
Is that what it is?
All born with two heads, two arms,
yes,
and two legs, and
we were split apart because we were too powerful.
Yeah, we were really powerful.
And when you find your soulmate, you're finding the other half of you.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I like that. Like it seemed like it made sense to me.
Sounds great, but I don't believe it. I actually think that a person can have many soulmates. I think people who believe in the creation theory, they say well, everybody has a soul, everybody's created uniquely. But I actually think that some people are created more closely related than others. And so when you find someone and it feels like they're a soulmate, you're finding someone who's created sort of from the same womb. So like a sibling, but they may have different parents, but they were cut from a similar template, emotional template. And I have a soulmate who's been my friend for about 9 years now. And we met in another country. And there was never a thought of getting married. There was never a thought of she and I being physical with each other. We were just immediately close friends. And so I believe that she's my soulmate because she can read my mind. She knows when I'm hurting and I don't have to say it. She can even tell me when I don't have any food in my refrigerator and call me and say, you know what, the spirit just told me to invite you over for dinner. That's a soulmate to me. But I think that when it comes to romance, you can also have multiple soulmates, and you meet them throughout different periods of your life. and some of them you never meet, but you might experience them in a dream state. There might be people who you've come across in dreams and like, I don't know who this person is, but I keep dreaming about them. And I think that when that happens, that person is really out there somewhere, or maybe existed in a previous time.
What you do with the soulmate, you know? Like, what would you, if you ever met a soulmate, what you could do, and what you will eventually do with a soulmate is to really, like, go down this path with this person, you know? Because, you know, that's what you do with soulmates, I believe, you know, if they exist or not, you know? And I think that if you walk down this path long enough with somebody, you know, you guys start to like gain the same values. I mean, scientifically, that is evidence for that, and maybe even spiritually.
Do you think you could have that friend and still have a lover at the same time?
Yes, I do, because I feel like if you build on the love with the person that you're in love with, you're gonna love them regardless of them being like. I feel like a person in a relationship and they're not your soulmate, you could do without that person. You could still love them. I feel like your soulmate, you cannot do without. Like, you can't go through life without that person. Like, nobody wants to be alone. So I feel like your soulmate is somebody that you really connect with and you shouldn't be without.
Is there like really, because I'm like, is there really people where you like, you meet them and you're just like, oh dang, like we have this connection, you know what I mean? And it's just like, oh, like I think you may be my soulmate, but it's just like, are you my soulmate, or is it because it's like we connect? Because like I have these connections with multiple people, not just you. You know what I mean? So I feel like the soulmate, I think I would have to agree with Leo and say that like they kind of are created, because it's just like, it's like I choose to run off with this connection with you, and then we build upon like that idea. You know what I'm saying? Instead of being like, you the one, like, you know what I mean? It's just like, I just knew it, you know what I mean? Like, I just felt it all up in here that's like, that you was the one.
You're literally on the same pattern at the same time and in the same sense simultaneously. Like, you sense each other, you know what the other person is thinking, and you're always on the same page. And you think that that's good, but sometimes it butts heads and it doesn't work out, and it makes you angry. It makes you frustrated. Like, I don't know. So it feels right, because there's no other person that could be, there's no way that you could be exactly the same as somebody else. Like, you gotta be soulmates, you have to be together. But that saying that opposites attract, that really works better than being with the exact same person that's just like you.
I think it depends on how long you're talking to the person. Like, is there a time limit on it? Okay, because I'm like to stop loving somebody, I don't think that's a thing. I don't think so. Yeah, no, I don't think so, because like if you like, because I understand like people be like, oh yeah, like I think I love her, you know what I'm saying, but you like really don't, you know what I mean? Then it's just like you want some just other man. It's just like some foolishness that you was just messing around with. But it's like, I feel like if you really like, both parties really feel like they love each other, like, and you think you can just drop it and it's done, you go goofy. Like, because it's just like, no, because then that goes back to the, in my mind at least, it kind of goes back to the point of like love being unconditional, you know what I'm saying? No matter like what happened, and like just kind of.
Yeah, I thought you did, because before you said it was
shut up.
Oh, show about the
right, yeah.
That's why I was going. I'm gonna check myself.
To me, I feel like it's easy, because if you don't know if you've been with that person and you feel like that wasn't the right one, it may be easy to move on. But if you really love that person and feel like they're supposed to be there, then it would be hard. Or depending on that relationship that you have with that person, will make it hard. But if someone's not treating you right, I feel like it should be easy to move on.
I feel like you could still be in love with the person that you broke up with, like, you may love them and they may love you, but sometimes the relationship just doesn't work and personalities don't fit, and you just have to move on for that person. I feel like that's a love too, just letting them go, because even though you want to be with them and you want to be together, it just doesn't fit, and you don't want to seem like caught or staggered in a relationship just because you love the person, because that's not a healthy type of love for me. It's just, oh, I love you and I don't want to let you go, but then I'm wanting all of these other things that you can't give me, and I know that I can find somewhere else.
I think that no, I think you can't stop. I mean,
you can or you can't.
I think the only way you stop loving them is if you don't really understand what, like, loving them means, you know,
or was.
Like,
or if you even love them.
Like, yeah, you gotta be like, you had to not love them in the first place, almost, you know. I think you can still care for a person, but it's like, because you could still care because you flawed, you know. If you, like, your mind is such a weird thing. You could just get used to.
So you saying you can still care, but you ain't gonna love them?
You can become blind.
Huh? Because I'm not that good of a person.
Like, it's called the Stockholm syndrome. Where you?
Why are you looking?
This nigga always know essentials. No, it's where it was. The Stockholm was some type of bank, and I guess the syndrome was noticed in a situation where these people robbed the bank and held these people hostage or whatever. I don't know if they hurt anybody, but they held them hostage. But they held them over, I think, 9 days. And first, the people inside was like, kind of like, like, you're doing so bad to us, you know. Oh man, you know. And but then as time went on, they start to relate to this person that's like hurting them. And it happens in, like, bad relationships where the women be like, but he loves me still. It's like you start to, like, think that that's real life, you know?
I mean, I feel like once in a breakup, you try to find who you are again. Like, do stuff that only you like to do and you couldn't do while you were in a relationship. Just concentrate on stuff that you love to do and just build on that, and not try to think about the person too much, because then you'll just end up missing them all the time, and just get into things that you do for you. Like, you should make your life better, and that'll help you move on once you concentrate on you, because you spent so much time trying to make somebody else happy. I feel like in the process you kind of forget to do that for yourself. So once you're alone again, that's the perfect opportunity to work on you, and then you could just move on, because you won't be waking up thinking like, oh, I have to do this for them. You say, I have to do stuff for me. Like, it just fades away.
I don't believe in losing love. Like, I love everyone that I've ever loved. Like, ever. Like, I still love them to this day. It's just different. So I may not be with my exes, or I may not still have a family member that I lost, but I still have love for that person. I still love those people. So yes, it's hard to lose love, but it's also an opportunity to gain love, which is, you know, that goes with love is never ending. There's no beginning or end. It's just kind of like fluid, ebbs and flows.
I agree 100%. I have nothing else to add.
Mark your calendars, folks. He just agreed with me.
It's perfect.
Say with our generation, just don't rush it. Love it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of hard work. It's not just something that's easy. And sometimes I feel like it can be easy, and then I feel like it's complicated all at the same time. It's a really complex emotion. Like, you can love someone, but you have to work for it if you really want the love, like the love that you deserve, and you want to give them the love that they deserve. Just work through it, and you could have love.
I grew up not rushing into love. I don't think I really understood love until I started loving myself. I think when you start to love yourself, you could love another person. You could love another being. I think people just like the idea and what they see on TV, the fantasy, the Disney love. You know, that's not what people should be looking for. They should be looking for who they are and loving themselves, and then searching for the love outside of yourself.
It ain't easy. Although it may appear like everything is good on the outside, it may be good, but it wasn't always. Like, there's going to be struggles, there's going to be hard times, there's going to be arguments, fights, but at the end of the day, there is love. Like, God is love. Like, I don't know how many times I can say that. So remember that if you keep God first in your relationship and in your life, all will work out.
I think that love definitely takes work. Love changes because people change. I mean, when we met, I was like 40 pounds lighter. But he married me anyway. When I met Sean, he had a bald fade, and now he has locks. And this has had to grow on me. I've broken glasses. I've broken martini glasses, water glasses. I've thrown poinsettias across the room. And that's my personality. And he didn't walk out. He doesn't yell back. And so I think if you find somebody who's just like you, don't marry them. Because that's not going to work. Because if I were married to me, I mean, I think I'm sexy, you know. So I would, if I saw myself, I would probably ask him out on a date. But it would be a disaster. Because two people who are the same do not create a successful marriage. And that's actually what this kanji symbol means. It means success.
Because if you don't have communication and you lack that, it's just nothing is getting through. No, I don't think nobody's comprehending anything on either side. Like, you have to communicate. Like, I don't know where you are if you're not saying anything to me, and if I'm not saying anything to you, I feel like I'm gonna be quiet and I'm not gonna say how I feel to you, and you're not gonna understand. I'm not gonna get what I want if I don't speak it. Overall, I just think it's, I don't know, just your care and your energy for someone else, and what you do and how you do it, and it's just, it's a full body, it's full body energy. That's what I think it is.
Live.
Love.
Grow. Live.